think if you really look at the opposite of love, it's fear. Fear of not being liked, fear of the big wide world, fear of all of these things. And underneath it sits self-loathing, not good enough, grief, sorrow, shame, guilt, remorse, anger, frustration, all of that sits under that. And so I drew the arrow coming out of the heart to the bottom left, and I drew it in a big box in black and wrote fear. And then I asked him to word some of it, and he said, yeah, anger, shame. I think his words were things like hate, not good enough, not liking life, all of that. So I used his words. And then I said the first step back into loving yourself, and I went up to the top right and I wrote the words self-awareness. I said, if you can accept that you're just having a shitty time right now, this is just a page in Jacob's book of life. It's not the whole story. So if you can just know that if you can have awareness that right here, right now, life sucks, then that is loving yourself, because you're giving yourself permission to go, far out, life sucks right now. And that is actually a form of self-love and self-worth. And I said the next step, where most people go wrong, in my humble opinion, is self-care. Now, when you're in a bad place, most people, what do? Drink, drugs, sex, sabotage, hate on self, hate the world, hate on everyone else, get mean behind the computer, all of this sort of garbage.
Short-term gratification.
Yep,
short-term
all
happiness.
Of that. And I said, but self-care, and I'm talking to a 16-year-old. So I said, Jake, you're going to have something green with every meal. Could you do that? He goes, yep. I said, I expect you as a physically fit young man to go to the beach and walk the beach or run the beach. If I run you a bath and put magnesium and oils in it, will you do it? Because this is all part of self-care. And he went, yep. And I was like, wow. And then the third step was self-discipline, which I think is the absolute key. So self-discipline is the determination, and in my humble opinion, you've got to do it for at least 28 days straight to create a new neurochemical loop in the brain pathway that will override self-sabotage. So for 28 days, you're not allowed to swear at a teacher. You've got to be mindful of what you're saying. You've got to do all the self-care rituals. Can you do that? And he looked at me and I went, yep. And then with that, so that's the doing on the right-hand side of the circle. That leads to what I call self-control. More awareness of how you speak, think, and feel. Control about what you put into and onto your body. Control about what you feed your mind, what you read, the people you hang out with. That is wicked. That is huge, self-control. And with self-control goes into the fifth step, and that is self-respect. Now in New Zealand, the Māori word is mana. And I don't know how to use a better word than mana, which is about seeing the God and the trust and connection to your tribe, your purpose, your meaning is true self-respect. And when you have self-respect, you're not going to get into bad relationships. You're not going to put women or men down. You're not going to be an asshole or a witch of a person. With self-respect comes the final step, which is self-acceptance. And that means loving who we are, warts and all, accepting that we make mistakes. Because I'm not asking, Jacob, you to be perfect. I'm just asking you to own your mistakes, learn from them, and step the hell up. And he just looked at me and I said, so what do you think? And he looks at me and he goes, Mum, I've never heard anyone explain it like this before. You got to write a book. And so that's how I wrote. That's what motivated me to write The Art of Self-Love. So yeah, that's probably where I'd go, because as an athlete myself, I love steps. I love outcomes. I love to know what to do with myself when I'm not feeling great. And here's the other piece of advice I'd give. When you are feeling good, do the work. You know, when you're feeling great, make sure you're reading good books, listening to good podcasts, filling your mind, doing the work, coming to your retreats, getting one-on-one coaching. That is building your love tank. That is building your reservoir of tools so that when life does, because it will, it's not a case of if, it will.
Life is going to life.
Whether it's a tap or whack or a Mac, you're going to get hit. And you want to be ready for that. So that's what I also suggested. Let's learn some tools so that when the tap with the knack of life hits you, you're freaking armed and ready for it. You can do it with strength, courage, grace, and dignity.